Hey guys, it's me again. Welcome to the Horror and Metal channel. I just reviewed The Omen, the original from 1976, so check that out if you haven't already. And I figured I'd go ahead and do a trailer reaction for the upcoming It movie, based on the popular Stephen King book, which was previously adapted in 1990 as a TV movie, which I had also reviewed a while back. This was one of my earlier videos. I reviewed the 1990 It. So check that out if you haven't already. It's not one of my better reviews because I accidentally called the Bill's brother who dies at the beginning Ralphie instead of Georgie. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought it looked like the kid from A Christmas Story. And I got some of the actors' names mixed up who played the adult versions of the kids, in the second part. But other than that, check out that review if you haven't already. So that's my thoughts on the 1990 movie. Now, as you all probably already know, if you're watching my channel, you're likely a horror fan. They are making another adaptation of It, coming out later this year, September, I believe. And they released a teaser a few months ago, and I saw that. They didn't really reveal much. It was like not very long. Just kind of revealed a few small clips, and then there was a full-length trailer, which revealed a lot more. Which I just actually watched a few days ago. So I'm going to talk about both of them. I'm going to talk about my thoughts about the upcoming movie, what I think of it, and stuff. And I already reviewed the 1990 film. I thought that movie was really good, except I liked the first part way better when they were kids. I really liked those kid actors, those child actors. One of them was Seth Green. One of them was Jonathan Brandis, rest in peace. They had really good chemistry together, and something about the fact that they were kids and it was more innocent and more helpless, it made it kind of scarier. It really heightened the impact. And of course, Tim Curry was great as Pennywise. I mean, he was just awesome. He rocked it as Pennywise. And Bill Skarsgård, who's playing Pennywise in this upcoming It, looks pretty good. He looks pretty scary in the makeup and everything. It's going to be hard to top Tim Curry's performance because he's so awesome. But this might be a little scarier. This version of Pennywise might be scary. We got to guess he doesn't talk quite as much because I thought the Pennywise in the 1990 film was funny. I mean, the scene where the grown-up Richie Tozier's in the library and he's said, "Hey, is your refrigerator running?" and all that stuff. He was just hilarious. I mean, he was funny in that movie, and the way he taunted the kids, I thought it was more funny than anything. I never thought the 1991 was that scary. I think it just comes from people's fear of clowns, the coulrophobia, which I think a lot of people, if you're legitimately afraid of clowns, I'm not judging you, but I think a lot of people do it because it's trendy. It's kind of like a fad. I'm afraid of clowns. Everybody's doing it. And I guess I think happy clowns are kind of scary because why are they so happy? What did they just do? Evil clowns, when they're supposed to be scary, they don't scare me. In fact, I'm not afraid of clowns at all, by the way. I think they're awesome. I think they're cool, but especially evil clowns. But I think the 1990 film was mostly scary just because people were afraid of clowns. There was a few creepy scenes, but it didn't really scare me that much, at all. Of course, then again, nothing does. But this upcoming one looks pretty good. I think it's gonna be pretty good. Looks pretty scary. There's some pretty frightening scenes. But yeah, the 1990 one, I didn't like it as much. The second part where they were adults. I mean, all those people were great actors, John Ritter and all them. But I don't know, just there's something about when they were kids. It was just more. It was more frightening when the victims were kids and none of the adults believed them or anything. These were adults who could just leave whenever they wanted. Pennywise wasn't really as much as a threat to them. They just did it based on they came back and fought him based on a promise. It just wasn't, I don't know. And the ending, oh gosh, the ending was so anticlimactic. I hope this new one has a different ending. But yeah, for more of my thoughts on the 1990 movie, check out my review on that. I'm not going to spend the whole time comparing this upcoming movie to the 1991, or the book for that matter. This new one's supposedly going to be closer to the book, which is great. I think it'll be scarier, but I wouldn't mind if they left a few things out, like Henry Bowers the bully, having one of his little cronies giving him head, and then the whole orgy that the kids have in the sewer with Beverly. They all have intercourse with her. They can go ahead and leave that stuff out. Also, the backstory with the turtle and how it was created before the universe and stuff. They can leave that stuff out too because honestly, I didn't really need an explanation. I think it was scared, just thinking he's a powerful demon. I don't know where he came from. It's better that way, just more mysterious. They can leave all that stuff out, but if they include it all, that's fine. It'll be closer to the book. That'll be good. I do want it to be closer to the book overall because that'll differentiate it from the previous adaptation. The teaser was funny because when Georgie's running to get his newspaper sailboat, he hits his head on a sign or something and falls down. I was like, it took me off guard. I was like, is this a parody? Like, that just looked funny to me. I was like, but it will be sad when Georgie dies, and Bill with his guilt and stuff, and they want to get revenge against Pennywise, and they band together. I can already tell from the trailer, these kids, the actors who play the children, I don't think they're going to be quite as good as the ones in the 1991. Again, I'm not trying to compare both movies the whole time, but like, I don't know, they just don't seem as charismatic, and like the chemistry doesn't seem to be quite as tight. I could be wrong. I don't know. I might be wrong, but again, I think it will be probably scarier, probably more serious, a little less silly. Don't be wrong. I love the original movie, but I think this one will be again close to the book, a little scarier, probably more taken a little more realistically. I still hope that Pennywise shapeshifts. I hope he turns into all kinds of different creatures and not just the clown. But yeah, I'm thinking he's not going to talk as much. They do repeat the line, you'll float too, you'll all float in the trailer quite a bit. And it's also the tagline for the movie. I hope they don't use that line too much, because in the 1990 movie, they said that line ad nauseum. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh. And they overuse the balloons too. It's like, are balloons supposed to be scary? I don't know. But yeah, also from the trailer, we see Henry Bowers and the bullies. We see the town of Derry, which is like a crappy little no-horse town, kind of like the town I live in, honestly. But no, it's not that bad. Beautiful mountains and rivers, but great forests. But yeah, just like such a terrible little town where none of the adults believe them. All the adults are kind of bad to the kids. One thing I don't care for is that. For one thing, I'm not sure. I didn't see any footage in the trailer of them as adults, so I think I read somewhere that this movie is just going to focus on the kids, and they're going to make a part 2 with the adults later. I haven't researched as much as I should, so I'm not really sure what they're doing there. I think this is just going to be about the kids at first, so I don't think it's going to be a 2-parter like the first one was yet. It's like I don't think it's going to be flashbacks either, like the adults thinking back to when they're kids, which I'm glad. I always thought it'd be better if they were just kids in one part, then they grew up and were adults in the second part. No flashbacks, no the adults thinking about what happened. That made it kind of sloppy and uneven. It seemed less focused that way. So hopefully it'll just be their kids, then 30 years later, then part 2. Kind of like almost like a sequel, which would be cool. I think that'd be cool. It returns, but no, it's all from the book. So I'm not sure what they're doing there. But I will like it if they go that route. I will say that I will like that. But again, I'm not sure if that's the case or not. It's kind of hard to tell. I didn't see any scenes of them as adults in the trailer, though, so I'm not sure. And I haven't read about it as much as I probably should have. Again, Bill Skarsgård looks like he'll be a great Pennywise. What else is going to say? Yeah, the kids, they don't look... I don't know if they're going to be quite as enjoyable to watch as the ones from the original, but who knows? It could be wrong. Again, it does look a little darker and grittier. They're probably going to have even more kids disappear, and that would be good if Pennywise didn't talk quite as much and make jokes and stuff. If he was just like the scene where he rises up out of the sewer and he's silent, and you see his eyes, that's really terrifying. And like they need moments like that. He should be kept in the shadows a lot. In fact, I kind of wish they hadn't revealed the full clown, his full makeup and everything. I wish they hadn't showed it yet. I wish we hadn't seen an image like that. They should have kind of kept that as a surprise when the movie actually comes out in September. But what can you do? Maybe I shouldn't have watched the trailer. But I've seen so much promotional material just everywhere. It's all over Facebook. It's all over IMDb. But I'm hoping it'll be really good. I'm hoping it'll follow the book more closely. I don't know if I'll enjoy it as much as the 1990 version. I might, it might be, as I said, it might be more effective, might be more, scary, which is good. But there was something else I was going to add, and I had it in my mind. I already forgot what I was going to say. Shoot. One thing I don't care for is that if this movie's going to be, I guess the adult part, if they're going to do that at all, is going to take place in, present day in the 2010s. So that means that, 30 years ago, that means the events when they're kids, when everything happened when Georgie dies when they're kids, they battle Pennywise, that's going to be either the late 80s or the 90s. I don't care for that. I loved in the original how, they were kids in 1960, then they were adults in 1990. And in the book, it was I think it was 27 years in the book. The book was in came out in the late 80s, I think. And so it took place in the 50s. That was such a perfect time period for something like that to happen. Because back then, I don't think that, I think that adults were a little more strict and a little more stern. Like they didn't really believe kids as much. They kind of were like more separate. I remember like hearing about in the '60s how like there was like almost like a war, not really a war, but there was like a huge rift between the young and the old. And I think that was perfectly portrayed in the original movie because they were in 1960. It felt like the 50s. You know, it was 1960, being you know basically almost was the 50s, but yeah, so this one's going to take place more present, more modern. I don't know why they couldn't set it in the same time period as the book, the late 50s and then late 80s. But I don't know. I guess it's harder to do that. But so that's one thing I don't care for. It's going to be more modernized, more present times. They're going to be kids in the 80s or 90s, and then adults in the 2017 when was made going to take place in a contemporary setting, which yeah, I don't really care for that, but oh well. I mean, I guess it will differentiate from the previous adaptation. It won't be closer to the book in that respect, though. That aspect of it will be going a little further from the source material. But yeah, overall, I think it looks good. Bill Skarsgård, the younger brother of Alexander Skarsgård, who played Eric in True Blood, looks great in the makeup. It looks like he's going to be really creepy. I'm not going to compare it to Tim Curry because, I mean, come on, there's no comparison. Looks a little scarier, a little more serious. I don't know if the kids are going to be quite as, good. It seems kind of generic. When you're a kid, you think everybody has your back or whatever. And that was how it was in the 90s and the 80s. It was different. It was different dynamic than it was in the 60s. So I feel like that won't translate as well. I'm not going to believe it as much as, the adults not believing them. Even though there's kids disappearing, and adults still don't believe them. There's like a murderer on the loose, at least. They don't believe it's like a demonic, shape-shifting monster. But, I mean, come on, it's like a murderer, right? I mean, so, yeah, that part might not be as good. But overall, I think it's going to be very enjoyable. I'm definitely looking forward to see it. I'll definitely be there in the theater. So, yeah, let me know what you think about the upcoming adaptation of Stephen King's It in the comments. I previously did a trailer reaction for Cult of Chucky, the 7th installment in the Child's Play franchise coming in October, and also Leatherface, which is a prequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I thought it was funny. Didn't we get a Chucky film and a Leatherface film in 2013? The Curse of Chucky and Texas Chainsaw 3D. That was 2013, right? Yeah, pretty sure. And now we're getting a Chucky and Leatherface film in 2017. That's pretty awesome. And another It movie. I heard there are Pet Sematary movies in the works. I'd love for them to adapt Stephen King's books, as much as possible. For you, those of you thinking, "Oh, wait a minute, don't you hate remakes?" A book adaptation is not a remake. They can make as many adaptations as they want. A remake is when you take a movie that was just a movie. It was previously a movie. It was a film, and remake it, rehash it. Not what is based on the book. It's not the same thing. Yeah. But, we got a Chucky movie and a Leatherface movie. Why not, Jason and Freddy, man, and Michael Myers, When is that going to happen? I hear all this bullshit talk, but it never goes anywhere. But, yeah, anyway, rambling again. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Hopefully it'll be good, and I'll be sure to let you guys know what I think about it. When it comes out in theaters, I'll go see it, and you guys will be the first to know my initial thoughts and reaction to the actual movie itself. Trailer looked pretty good. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. All right, guys, I'm Hellhound, and until next time.